Okay, so I know I'm gonna edit this, so I probably shouldn't have a panic attack, but no joke, I took an Adderall, which I never take Adderall, and I never take anything. I never do anything. I don't need to really, but it's making me panicky. It feels like my legs are swollen and it's hard to breathe, and I'm like getting really panicky. So, and I've already been sort of a little bit anxious because it's springtime and there's like a lot going on. I know like the perfect instant solution for panic attack. And whenever you're getting a panic attack, go lay down on the floor, prop your feet up like this, so you're laying flat on your back with your feet like this, and cup your hands over your mouth. And breathe slow, but that slows your breathing down and it relaxes you, because apparently your own CO2, it relaxes you and it like opens up your system or something like that. So yeah. Anywho, what I wanted to make a video about was, sorry, I just got up and left. What I wanted to make a video about, point in this video, I might have a panic attack. I've just been thinking a lot about being young versus the present, and I think every year I get smarter and more mature, but I just think back like at certain times and I'm like, oh man, I was so stupid and immature. But I look back and I'm like, god damn, so annoying. I was so annoying and like obnoxious and weird. Gullible, or I handled that situation not the best I could. And yeah, sure, we all have a lot of growing up to do, or we had a lot of growing up to do. We still do. We're still growing. We're growing until the day we die. Every day I strive to be the best I can be and to handle things the best way I can, to relax and to be the most sensible I can be. I don't know, I guess it's just who I am, but it's certainly what I strive for. You know, a lot of that begins usually with your emotions and your psyche and how you handle things, but I realize I'm not perfect, and I never have been, but I get really pissed or really down on myself for not being so, or for having flaws, or for, I don't know, I get annoyed by myself at times. There's a part of me that hates myself, and I think that's something we all deal with. It's as if I'm my own best friend and my own worst enemy at times, a duality. And I think it makes me, or has made me, contradict myself a lot. Like one day I believe in myself, or one day I believe in this or that or the other thing, and then the other day I don't. Other days I think I'm awful, or I don't know. It's like how I'm thinking about the world has a lot to do with my feelings that day, or how I'm thinking about myself. Like, I always thought I knew myself really, really well since, like, the second I came out of the womb. Like, I knew who I was, and I knew what I wanted to do, and, like, the essence of who I was. But, yeah, I didn't know my true self well enough. I don't know, I would take certain things too seriously and certain things not seriously enough. I guess it was all the way I looked at things, and I was very driven by emotion, passion. And now I kind of learned to take a step back and look at everything from a different perspective that necessarily isn't mine. Well, it is mine, but it's more of like a clear-headed, subjective kind of way of looking at things. And I feel like it's because a lot of the time I stretch my opinions. Like I stretch my opinions to fit into my art. Yeah, I'm very potent at times, and I use that word a lot. I'm potent and passionate. These are also things that make me a decent artist. Because if I were logical about everything, it would be really hard to write and create if I were skeptical about everything. However, I like to be skeptical in my own art, seeing what I can change and improve. I don't get tied down to my own thoughts and my own music anymore. Yeah, I don't like to do that anymore. I don't like to get married to my own music. I have an emotional connection with it, but I'm always open to change. And I guess it's because I have a childlike essence. I used to have a childlike essence. I would get so excited about things, or easily believe things, just because they were exciting, I guess. And a part of me still has a childlike essence, and I don't think I'll ever lose that. An innocence, because it helps me look and see the best in people. Compassion. It's my compassion. I think it's also why I talk like a cartoon a lot of the time. You would never assume, based off of watching me now or watching my vlogs, like how I am in real life or everyday life, how I talk to myself, but I talk like a cartoon a lot. I talk to my dog. Yeah, I talk to myself a lot and I talk to my dog a lot. And sometimes I even talk to my stuffed animals as if they're real and they understand what I'm saying and we're like friends and we have like some relationship. But yeah, I used to buy into things a little bit easily. Not as easily as some people would, but the whole smoke and mirrors of the world. I would not see past the smoke and mirrors of a lot of things growing up. And now I've learned to question things, even the things that I want to believe in. But don't ever lose your childlike essence fully. Don't ever lose the childlike side of you entirely. It's what drives you to be creative, to have hope, believe in something bigger, even if it doesn't exist. It gives you something to reach for. Like, sure, I talk a lot about, well, in real life, I talk a lot about not wanting to get married or have kids. How I don't really want to find love right now. And that might be true, the love part, but it's an exaggerated opinion. A very exaggerated opinion. And I feel like you can't take that too seriously because at the end of the day, I am an artist and an entertainer. I am a comedian, you know? I'm not a professional comedian. I'm a funny person, but in a lot of what I do, there's humor. So a lot of the time, people or entertainers or artists will like to sometimes get wrapped up in their own negative emotions or dwell on them and feel sorry for themselves, which is a bit of a twisted way of dealing with things, but I've learned to not deal with things like that. Like, yeah, I can have my own negative opinion or thought, but it's just my own opinion, which is biased, and I don't get too attached to it. Like, if I want to put it in my art, that's fine. To make the art sound cooler, to make my raps sound cooler and more dramatic, like awesome. Or I would exaggerate or dwell on negativity to get people to want to convince me otherwise. But yeah, about the whole marriage thing, if it happens, of course, I would want to get married and have kids. I think I would make an excellent parent. And I think that's because I'm very cautious about having a kid because I take it so seriously. And I don't want to do that until I'm 100% ready and have my life together financially. Because I am a bit of a perfectionist. And I would never raise my kid to be a perfectionist or raise my kid to be anything except a kind, smart person. But I don't want to ever settle. Like, I don't want to settle now. I would rather spend my time focusing on my future, you know? Yeah, right now, I'm pretty anti-marriage. And considering how the world works or how us millennials are, marriage is kind of a bit of like a mess. It's a bit, you know? I mean, we have things like Tinder, and I just find Tinder to be very trivial, you know? It's not the same. And despite all of the immaturities that I've had or we've had growing up, I will say that I am a good person, and I've never kicked people when they were down. I've never wanted to see them down. In fact, that often makes me really sad, like seeing people down, seeing animals down, like seeing anybody in a bad place just makes my heart sad. I've always stood up for people. I never stirred up trouble. I've never talked behind people's backs. And when I say I've never talked behind people's backs, I've never talked negatively behind people's backs. If I were fighting with somebody or somebody did something shitty to me and I brought it up to somebody, I would bring it up in a mature way. I was never dramatic or conniving. And I mean I was dramatic in the sense of like I'm an entertaining, like loud, outgoing person. But I was never conniving. I always loved helping. I loved people. I was never a bully. I was never a bitch. And a lot of the times I was very sensible. And a lot of people would come to me and still do with their problems, with their boy problems, even though I have my own problems going on of my own. But despite all of the negative things that I may think about myself, may not think about myself, even if they're true, you know, I am human and I can't sit there and dwell on them. I can only aim to be the best person that I can be every day. And the only thing I ever really wanted in life was for people to appreciate what I did and be proud of me and support me. That's really like the one thing that I like most in my friends or people that I'm in a relationship with, is that they really appreciate who I am and they support what I do, or they're proud of what I do, because I know what I do isn't conventional. And I don't believe you have to live or be conventional to be happy. I don't think that that's the role of life. Like if you're not doing this, this, and this, that you're not doing it right, or you're weird or wrong. There's not a set way of living life. The purpose of life is to be happy, and that's doing whatever you want to do. So never think that being who you are is a flaw to other people who do the same thing. Like, never let people judge you for being different or talking down. But yeah, the things that you may or may not think about yourself, that I may or may not think about myself, they're just thoughts and opinions, really just regurgitation in your head. They're not real. Like when we watch an event in our head that happened, we don't watch it how it really happened, We have our own previous experiences that dwindle it or make it into what it's not. We have our own thoughts about ourselves. We have a lot of factors that go into how we process the world. So you can't always believe your own thoughts. But you just can't believe everything. You can have your opinions, but know that they're just opinions, and that you might think, your opinion might be that you think that you're flawed, but you're really not. You're human. Everybody has their faults, their flaws, their bad times, their problems, their insecurities, but that's sort of what I realized. I don't know, I made this video because I think, these are some weird existential thoughts, but I feel like they can maybe help some people and maybe how they think about themselves or process the world or whatever. Just soak it in, and soak it in unobjectively. Yeah. Lexa.